Do you ever feel stuck in a never ending cycle of learning HTML, CSS, and JavaScript? Yet you are still not landing that web development job. You are not alone. Many aspiring developers give up because they don't know how to turn basic coding knowledge into employable skills. But today, that changes. In this video, I'll show you the exact roadmap to becoming a web developer and share 3 common mistakes to avoid at all costs. Stick with me, and by the end, you will be on your way to landing your first web developer job. Before we start with the roadmap, let's quickly define web development. It has two parts: front end development and back end development. Imagine a website as a restaurant. The front end is like the dining area, the part of the restaurant that customers see and experience. Similarly, the front end of a website is what users interact with: the layout, buttons, and design. It is where the magic happens for the user. In front end development, there are three main technologies you need to know: HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. HTML is like the blueprint of a house. It defines the structure, what rooms or sections of a website exist. For example, it decides where the like and subscribe buttons are placed on a web page. CSS is the interior designer of that house. It decides the color, styles, and layout. For instance, when you click subscribe on YouTube and the button changes color, that's CSS doing its work. By the way, you can try this thing by subscribing to my channel. JavaScript is like the electrician that makes your house smart. It brings interactive features to life. For example, when you hit the subscribe button, JavaScript sends the command to YouTube server to update your subscription status. Together, these three make up the foundation of front-end development. But here is where most people go wrong. They spend too much time on HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. It's crucial to learn them, but don't get stuck. Learn the top 25% of concepts that cover 75% of real-world use cases. To do this, I recommend using W3 schools to practice the basics. Now, once you have a grasp of CSS, your next step is to learn a CSS framework. Why? Because as you build more complex websites, writing CSS from scratch becomes time-consuming and messy. Frameworks solve this by giving you a pre-written code that you can reuse. I recommend starting with Tailwind CSS. It is a beginner-friendly framework that lets you easily apply to your website without writing tons of custom code. You can experiment with Tailwind in their online playground and check out their documentation. By mastering Tailwind CSS, you have just covered another 5% of your journey to becoming a web developer. Now, just like CSS, JavaScript also has a framework that makes your job easier. One of the most popular options is React, although technically it's a library. React simplifies building user interfaces by breaking them down into reusable components. It updates only the part of the page that changes, making your website faster and smoother. Why should you choose React? It is in high demand and it is easy to learn. By mastering the basics of React, you will be ready to start building your own projects faster. The official React documentation is a great place to start. It even includes a step-by-step guide to building a simple game like tic-tac-toe, which will help you get hands-on experience with real code. Here comes the mistake number one: not applying your knowledge. Now that you have learned the basics of these technologies, don't make the mistake of just learning without building. You need to apply what you have learned. The best way to do this is by building real-world projects. If you're not sure where to start, follow along with YouTube tutorial. Many YouTubers build clones of popular apps like Amazon or Netflix. This will help you learn real industry standard techniques and patterns in React. One small step further would be to build your own basic version of Twitter. Don't worry if it's not perfect. Focus on letting users upload photos, like tweets, and leave comments. Start small and don't rush the process. Let's move on to the next phase of your journey, backend development. Now, before we start, here is a key point. Many developers make their second biggest mistake right here. They fall for the hype of full stack development, thinking they need to master both the front end and back end before they can land a job. That is simply not true. While full stack development is a great long-term goal, you can become an employable web developer by focusing on front-end skills alone. But let's say you want to start learning the backend. Since we have already covered JavaScript for the front-end, why not use it for the backend as well? That is where Node.js comes in. If I tell you in simple words, Node.js allows you to run JavaScript on the server. It is a JavaScript runtime for servers, and don't worry if this sounds a bit confusing, you will get the hang of it when you start working with it. Along with Node.js, you will learn a framework to help you build APIs. APIs are like the waiters in the restaurant. They take requests from the front end and deliver responses from the back end. The go-to framework for this is Express.js. It is simple, straightforward, and perfect for beginners. Now, an API can't do its job without storing or retrieving data from a database. Here comes MongoDB, a popular database that is perfect for web developers to learn. Express and MongoDB together allow you to build powerful backend systems. To get familiar with Express and MongoDB, I highly recommend following along with tutorials like those by Traversy Media, where you can build an actual web app from scratch. Building real-world projects is the fastest way to learn. And if you have made it this far, you are already on your way to mastering backend development. With Node.js, Express, and MongoDB under your belt, you will have conquered another 20% of your web development journey. You are nearly there. Now the final step is to apply these skills by building the backend of that explore we started earlier. This time, add features like video uploads and user following. Store the photo and user data in your MongoDB database and create a tweet feed that shows your friend's tweet in real time. This project will push you to the final 20%, and once you are done, you will have a complete portfolio project, both front-end and back-end, that is ready to impress potential employers. But before we wrap up, here is the last mistake you need to avoid: not trusting the process. It is easy to feel discouraged if you don't land a job right away or if you hit a roadblock. Many people give up too soon because they don't realize that persistence is key. Keep working on projects, keep learning, and eventually you will see the results you are aiming for. Alright, you have made it through the roadmap. Now it's time for you to put these steps into action. Start with the front end, work your way through the back end, and most importantly, start building your projects. If you find this guide helpful, don't forget to like this video, subscribe for more videos like this, and let me know in the comments what project you are going to start first. See you in the next one.